Hey everybody, welcome back. It's business, and yes, it's Yamato time. 25 minutes of Yamato. This is going to be an interesting one, and before anybody asks, well, two things. Yes, I'm back from Nashville, and I had fun, and it was good, and I drank a lot. I plan on going back there soon. It was fun. But as far as the ship skin is concerned, you'll see that the deck is black. The real-life Musashi, apparently they took the soot from the funnel and put it all over the deck, make it harder to see. Whether or not that worked is entirely for you to judge. I mean, the Musashi is at the bottom of the ocean, but this is a skin by Tans. I'll link his stuff in the description below. I swear to God. Oh man. If any of you ask where to find that skin, oh man, we're gonna have problems. But no, anyways. The Yamato and I have had a very complicated history, and I have hated this ship since CVT. It was not a ship I got too quickly in CBT, and then I really just had no interest in getting it later on when the game actually went live. So, which is amazingly enough, we're actually getting pretty close to the 3-year anniversary of the release. Yikes. So that's only 4 months from now-ish. So anyways, get the nice little salvo there into the Yamato's ass for 32,000, switch our secondaries over to, I think, what is that, a gearing? I can't really tell. Yeah, we're gonna go with it. It's just a destroyer, so it is a gearing. So, or it was. But now we got a double strike. Can't have a video without a double strike, apparently. But, let me put it to you this way. My highest damage in the Ishizuchi was greater, up until recently, greater than anything that I'd been able to produce in the Yamato. Yeah, so, I mean, granted, it was an amazing Ishizuchi match at 182,000 damage, but my highest was 179.8 or 180, something like that for a while. And then I started playing it again, gave it a 19-point captain, and did manual secondaries, as you saw right there, just absolutely shredding that poor little Tashkent, while Baltimore's just sitting in there with his thumb up his ass around an island. Obviously not interested in helping in any way, shape, or form, so that's pretty cool. He didn't start moving, apparently, until after the torps were in the water. What a jackass. Ugh. But anyways, I do have a different build for this than I do for any other ship. There's no battleship that I have, as far as like 19-point captains are concerned, that have this build in terms of, you know, the captain skills and whatnot, because I do not take superintendent. That is a pretty big risk, and I do take damage in the ship. I'm not afraid of taking damage in it. I prefer the mid-long range fighting with this, because I feel like the dispersion favors that. Up close is not where the ship does well. However, that is where I bring in the secondaries, because I don't want to fuck around when I absolutely have to kill something. I need the secondaries to be able to back me up, and that incapacitation right there, I'm pretty certain that actually disabled one of the torpedo tubes, because here's one set, and there is not another. So secondaries win. Alright. You know, if I have the chance to sit back a bit, but, you know, try to maximize the effectiveness of the guns, then I'm gonna do that. But at the same time, I'm not afraid to push in when it's needed, and probably when it's not needed sometimes, let's be honest. I was very disappointed in the guns not getting a regular shell pen against the Chungmu or whatever the hell it was, and again, we just strictly get over pens here against the gearing, and then take it all. But the Chungmu, I felt, was, or I always get it mixed up, Yu Yang Chungmu at tier 9, 10, whatever the hell, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about. I felt like he was at enough of an angle there to trigger a regular shell pen, but I guess not. Probably could have aimed a little further to the left. Speaking of, check this out. See that shell in the back? Right under the B turret? Booyah. Shell pen and Citadel damage for just the Citadel, registered as a Citadel hit. So, yeah, still some weird stuff. But if you want to defeat Turtleback, you know, any of the German turtleback, you fire at them from range. Have those shells come in not blow over the top of the ship, but come down into the ship. It's lovely. And no, the ship cannot maneuver for shit, but if you get enough lead time, and actually I think it's slightly better than the Montana in terms of the rudder shift, which is really funny, but I mean it's a pretty much an inconsequential amount, like 0.2 seconds or some crap like that. But generally the thing is, for me, I've always felt like the guns on the Yamato have been horribly overrated. And, you know, this is quote-unquote close range for me in this ship. This is pretty much as close as I like to get, because there's just enough room to maybe be able to make a little bit of a turn in or turn out at this range to hopefully mitigate some significant damage, because the armor is actually, it really is good on the Yamato. It's just that the Citadel sits so damn high, and all the ships, well, at least as far as the battleships are concerned, all these battleships at this tier can just, and let me put it to you this way, if you go a couple years back, I have a video of the Nikolai doing 10 Citadels against this damn thing. I mean, any ship can Citadel it. It's just a matter of whether or not it can have the shell pen at a close enough range, or, you know, at a given range to be able to defeat the armor first and then hit the Citadel. So it's not as heavily armored as, or I guess it's more of the fact that it's not as weak as people tend to think of it, and, you know, myself included for a while, where, you know, it's, if you just have an angle, enough of an angle, then you're probably fine, but, you know, the deck can still give up a lot of damage, and, you know, to some fashion the ship has been a little power creeped, but the thing is, I don't think they're ever going to really change anything with the ship, because 18.1 inch guns, and it's the only ship that will ever get this type of stuff in this game, and nothing's going to be able to do what the Yamato can do. That is the ace in the hole for the Yamato. So we finally passed 182,000 there in that game. I think we'd actually done it back-to-back games or something like that, but that was kind of an interesting one. Now, Sleeping Giant, I like this map, but I only like it on this half of the map, and the reason is because the Thunderdome. I love this shit. You're going to see it a lot in upcoming videos, but back to the match at hand. The enemy Lexington decides to go ahead and have his planes linger in my AA aura, and then go after the Turbines. I don't know. So I'm gonna just go ahead and keep shooting down his planes, which, I mean, the Yamato's not really known for that, but if you spec it out for AA, it can definitely have some pretty good self-defense, but against tier 10, nothing's really going to help you there except for defensive fire from a tier 10 cruiser especially. But or obviously a nice timely strafe by your friendly carrier. There's a Kurfürst and Missouri moving in a bit here. Get a little chunk there against the enemy Kurfürst, but I have a Fletcher over there off to my starboard side. My port side, I still have the Tirpitz, who's still fading away. There is a Lo Yang somewhere out there, and it looks like these guys want to move into A, and I personally would be doing the same damn thing. I just... It sucks when you see moments like that over and over again in a video, because I wish I had that salvo back. I wish I fired it earlier, and, you know, I, like, just positioned my ship to be able to fire it earlier, I should say, because I should have done a hell of a lot more than, you know, just under 13,000 damage to that guy. But now we've got another chance here as we're turning back around. I'm trying not to make sure that I'm just nice and flat for the Lo Yang. I really don't want to catch torps, you know, at least unnecessarily. But we get 18,000 damage there against the Kurfürst, which, again, dispersion kind of left me hanging there a little bit. So instincts kicked in, and I decided to maneuver a little bit, managed to dodge the Lo Yang torps, and now we have him spotted. I make a pretty significant error here, and I knew this at the time, and it's even more obvious in the video, having the time to just sit here and watch things, but the Fletcher is backing me up, and he's coming back up north here in a second, but I don't fire. I should have shot that salvo, because now this is definitely playing much more into his hands. Take the shot there. Against any ship, that would have been great if they were broadside, and don't get me wrong, I'm happy with the 8,000 damage. I just really wanted to kill him, and really did not want to get those torps in the water, and luckily the Fletcher backs me up, but unfortunately it's a little too late as the torps hit the water just before he dies. But those torps don't really do anything, so yay! Was lucky enough to take 2 of those right on the maximum part of the bulge there, so they did almost nothing. But this is my favorite part of the Yamato. Those long-range shots across the map. Nobody sees them coming. I've run the range mod with this, and I've used the spotter plane. I think it's like it's damn near 40 kilometer range. I mean, look at this. This is where the dispersion is astonishingly better. Just a little, I shot a little too high there, but we're gonna get another chance here because we've already got our shells ready again, which is weird. It's kind of hard to think about that. I'm aiming a little lower this time and a little further back. But with the amount of time that it takes for those shells to reach the target, that anticipation, that you know, that tension's building up. You're like, okay, what are the results going to be? Well, pretty good against the Amagi. Yay! It would have been awesome though if I did a cross-map devastating strike against them. I think the furthest target I hit was like 36 kilometers or something like that, and I think it did like 48,000. It was against I think it was against the Lexington on hotspot, but we get a hell of a nice 35,000 damage salvo there against the Kerr first, and I'm turning back in now. I wanted to make sure I got a chance to dump as much damage as possible before having to, you know, rely more solely on the front guns. And again, on this build, because it's a bit different, I do not run Superintendent, so I've only got 4 heals total with the premium consumable, and I do run basics of survivability and Indian Yankee, try to cut down on the fire time as much as possible, and it's really a challenge to try to deal with the incoming damage, and I've died and have lost games because I accidentally used a repair, or you know, my heal when I shouldn't have, and I could have mitigated a loss if I had just been a little bit more patient. So this is much more of a challenge for me in the sense that I cannot waste anything on this ship at all, at no point. You know, and that's where, you know, it kind of is at odds. I was hoping for a double strike there. That would have been badass. And I really got lucky the Missouri didn't nail me for a shitload more damage than he did. So, but it's tough because I want to push in and I want to maximize, you know, the overmatch mechanic, because you don't really get the chance to do that at mid-long ranges. If it falls down close enough into the bow, yeah, sure, but most people confuse bow shots for shots that fall actually into the deck, and vice versa. So, but more the former than the latter. And I'm clearly confused here about how the hell to hit this Lexington, which, by the way, if you've noticed how wonderful my dispersion was there, that was great. What I should have done here, and I'm turning in because I'm anticipating torps from the Fletcher at some point, which he just got spotted again. I should have sequentially fired there, done some ripple fire to cover more of an area, because I'm putting all my eggs in one basket, and I've been having a hard time trying to hit this damn dude anyways, and I just did not figure that out. You know, it was that was a bit of a challenge. And I mean, how many times have you ever seen a carrier go full reverse and from the blue line do a U-turn reverse into the blue line again? So I don't know, that's weird. So the carrier comes after me again, not worried about whatever damage he's going to be doing as far as his torps are concerned, but, you know, much more concerned about the Fletcher and his torps. Those are a lot more dangerous. Thankfully, we did not get hit to the point where we needed to use our repair, so that's good going into a situation like this. I know I can take probably two torps at most before dying, and luckily the Fletcher shows up. We've already passed 200,000 damage for the first time, and you know, anything at this point is just all good in my opinion. So I'm not stressing trying to kill this guy at all. I'm just happy that the curse has been lifted. So the secondaries overall did a bit of work. There were over 100 secondary hits. Didn't really get the chance to really use them too much. I mean, other than the curve first, mostly. So that's where most of the damage from the secondaries is going to be coming from, and you know, the one fire that we set. So just take a look at the results here. 224,000 damage. Yay! 119 secondary hits, I think. Yeah, and 20 plane shot down, which is not a common thing for me in this ship. So that's kind of weird. But take a look at the secondary damage here. 33,000. Yeah, that's what you, you know, you can bring the secondary game against curve first with this ship. You just kind of have to be really careful about it, that's all. So let's move on to probably an episode that could, or I'm sorry, a match that could have ended up in Ships and Giggles. But if you see here on the minimap, as I fast forward this essentially to show the enemy movement, they want to push through C, and it were, well, actually, I don't even know what the hell cap this is now, D in this scenario. Unfortunately, we have, I think it's an Alsace that's really trying to, you know, stop the flow here of enemy ships through the cap. And I was a little forward there against the Tirpitz. Still good damage, but I was hoping to try to help out the Alsace as much as I could there by doing some big numbers. They've got some dangerous ships back there, and what you don't know sometimes when you're watching these videos is that you know, this is from a stream, and we've already had some issues with some of these players on our team, the opposing team, that sort, and I really screwed that shot up big time. But the enemy Hindenburg was a pain in my ass a previous match. I think it was actually the one before this, and he just basically sat broadside going quarter speed, and I could not hit him. And look at this rocket up this guy's ass. He just accelerates like crazy. There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to hit him. So ignore him. He's obviously dumping torp, so we got to just bear that in mind. Take another shot here at the Tirpitz as we press in. We're trying to basically reduce the ability for the enemy ships to get an angle, you know, a more damaging angle on the side of my ship, because I'm going to have to cut to the south at some point. So what I'm worried about is the enemy DD south of B just showed up all the way down on the bottom left of the map. So that is huge for me. So there's the Eddy Torps. That's fine. Let's just keep pushing in. We got the Ibuki. That's way over here. He had moved through the gap there between the two big islands to the right of D. And gonna take a shot at him here. You know, I do wish I had a lot of shots back. And I did pretty poorly here in the first stage of this match, and I feel like I'm pretty much fucked. I mean, the Tirpitz still has a little bit of health left. I just lost some more help over here on my left, and I am pretty much the farthest forward ship there is. And look at that. Well, that's a no camo Yamato, which you never see. And that means he gets a 52,000 damage salvo to his side for his troubles. Always bring camo. I guarantee that if he had the camo on, like reducing my dispersion, the debuff, I guarantee I wouldn't have had any citadels there. I swear that stuff is way too powerful. But anyways, so moving in, but not as fast as I can, because again, I still have to be conscious of the Eddy. And he again launches torps. They go far beyond my ship, so that's not a worry. I'm trying to see if I can squeak some damage here while I'm still alive against the Hindenburg and basically anything else. I got my secondaries going against the Des Moines, but Des Moines turning around trying to kite away. Get a nice salvo from the Hindi there. That's 13,000 damage. He's clearly running range mod and not reload mod due to the gap between his salvos. So that's, well, actually he may. I forget if the previous match I had, whatever, anyways, that's irrelevant right now. What is important is the Eddy's still up there. and I'm very aware of that. I'm losing a lot of health here pretty quickly. Get some decent damage against the Des Moines, but no citadels, which is kind of shitty. But we got the Ibuki back there. He's really overextended because the rest of his teammates that came through D aren't really doing anything. And again, the Eddie fires torps and misses. That's his third torp salvo. So bring my guns to bear on the Ibuki, who's pretty much stuck broadside now because he doesn't really have a choice, and it's that or go broadside to the other ships that are right there. Boom, get the knockout blow. Awesome, 145,000 damage. That's not bad, but it's not the whole story. There's more damn torps from the Eddie. That's torpedo salvo number 4. Now, the thing about that is I have no idea which side of the ship that's from. So going into this, quite frankly, I'm blind on, with all the torpedoes he sent, he could be like fully prepared for, dumping 3 torps into my side here at any moment. And given the fact that he has his Hydra running right now and has me spotted and can line me up perfectly, I'm guessing he switched around to his other side. And so I'm going to pull in tighter here and just assume that we've got more torps coming. So once we see him, sure enough, that's exactly the case. And that is salvo number 5. This dude's got to be frustrated as shit. And then he beaches, and we have one of the more funny situations I've ever experienced in this game. So I've got my secondaries loading up on him, and I make a huge mistake here. I don't hit shift to go into artillery zoom, and basically I overshoot him because I didn't do that. I should have been able to kill him, especially at that angle where the shells travel through the length of the ship. But yeah, take some torque damage there, just a little bit. And this is so fucking so stupid. Oh man. There's no way this guy's getting out of this alive, but or is there? Because I'm not leading my turrets, and what do? I fuck that up too. Now this is truly why I run a secondary build, because sometimes I totally derp out, but we had 120 secondary hits against just him at point blank range. You're gonna see just how much damage that was worth in a moment. So this match isn't over though. So we got a Des Moines. He's moving in, and he's going bow forward against me. That's okay. I mean, there's other targets here. There's other members of my team that are to the south. They've got his broadside a bit, so he notices that. He starts to cut in. Now he feels a little bit more compelled to start maneuvering a little bit, show his port side to me, but he does not switch to AP, which is really curious, and unfortunately he sets a fire. I do not have the health to fuck around with this. If he sets a second fire, I'm done. But we managed to get him, and okay, that's not bad. So we take a gander at the Hindenburg over here, dump a salvo. I feel like I'm wise to this guy's ways now, and seeing this salvo come in, that is beautiful. Oh, that feels like justice. Now here's an important part though. So the island is going to cut the line of sight here, right about now. He's going to take a shot where he thought I was, and if he just waited a second, I'd be spotted again, and he'd be able to get that salvo actually on target instead of sailing right over me, and now he can't see me anymore. He also can't see me because he's dead, so that's good. And that's that. So that is now my new top score in the Yamato, and that was just absolutely ridiculous, embarrassing as shit. Honestly, I shouldn't have had that many problems, but we had 56,000 secondary battery damage. That is by far the highest I've ever had in any game, but we had 37,000 damage of that against the Eddie. That is amazing. And again, you see another 26,000 here. Secondaries are fun as shit, man. I love them. And look at this, 263 secondary hits, another 31,000 damage. Not bad. But yeah, I'm playing the ship a bit more, and it's finally growing on me a bit. Took only 3+ years, but that's cool. I don't know what else to say about it. It's an interesting ship, especially nowadays. Actually, I'd say it's far more interesting now than it was 2 years ago. But hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. Probably some more in the future with the Yamato, but thank you for watching, and I will see you back here next time. Take care.